I want to say to this to you, listen to yourself. Do you communicate to your children that you are never completely pleased, satisfied, or content with them or their efforts? Do you communicate this to your kids? You're not completely pleased. In other words, you find fault with everything they do. Well, but wait, I have to correct their math. I'm not talking about working schoolwork. In life, do you find fault? Nice job mowing the lawn, son? Yeah, missed the corners again. It's a square lawn, son. It's not round. It's not an oval. Go to the corners. Yes, we want to train our sons to be diligent. But is there an exasperation and a frustration in you that everything they do? Now, mind you, my poor kids had a mom and I who see every detail, everything that's out of order, detail-oriented. My dear son, I can remember him standing so proudly by his room. You know, he cleaned his room. God bless you, son. Legos around the wall. Son, stand in the doorway. Look under your bed. Do you see what I see under your bed? Wow, how do you see that stuff? Look at this thing scattered. Son, a perfect room just means nothing on the floor. Completely clean. We figured out eventually that our son actually had no eye for detail. And it hit us one day when he submitted a coloring. We were at Denny's or IHOP, and they had a coloring contest. You know, draw the Thanksgiving turkey, color it in, and submit it and enter their contest. And my son held up his turkey to us and says, "You think I'm going to win?" 9 years old, colored all outside the lines. His 5-year-old brother did a better job. My son had no ability to pay attention to details. He would have food on his face for 3 days if you did not tell him. He goes here, looks fine to him. He discovers it here later, he'll eat it. He's married now. His wife says things like, "Honey, right here." He is oblivious. Then we worked with him. We said, "Son, you want to be a cop? Cops have to pay attention to detail. You can't miss anything." So we trained with him. However, it took us years to figure out it wasn't just willfulness. But in the meantime, he was getting demoralized and demoralized. "Son, this is a clean room. Son, this one is not done. Son." And now with our other children, here is perfection. You didn't achieve it. Eventually, your children will give up trying to please you. They'll say they're unpleasable. We must work hard with our kiddos to teach them diligence, yes. But it's possible if our kids feel like they just can never measure up, they're going to feel like they're just a big disappointment to us. You know what? We all crave our parents' acceptance. Some of you still do. You're still waiting. You're 40 years old, and you're still waiting for your mom or your dad to say to you, "I'm proud of you." And you've chosen to homeschool, and you can kiss that one goodbye. What's wrong with the way I parented you? I have a session on that one. I'm not doing it this time. I don't even offer it at my book table. It's a newer session. But this is called Maintaining Family Standards Without Alienating Relatives. Contact our office if you want it. We can get it for you. But the point is that it happens. But some of you are in your 40s and you're still waiting for your mom and dad to say, "I accept you for who you are." My oldest son called his mom about 2 years ago, and he was just heartbroken. And he says, "Hey, Mom, I ran into Dad today, and I was going for a job interview for a new police job." And he says, and he made some comments about my haircut, suggesting it'd be different, good for the interview. And he says, "Mom, it killed me. Why is it? I'm 23 years old," or whatever it was at the time, 24, and I need Dad's approval. It killed me when he suggested change my haircut. Why does Dad have so much power in my life? Why do I have this insatiable need for Dad's acceptance and approval? Why is it? He's crying to his mom on the phone, and she basically talks with him. And she calls me at the office and says, "Honey, you want to know I had this conversation with your son." So I call him on his cell phone immediately. "Son, your mom just told me about the conversation. I want to say something to you. I sent you the message. I created a deficit for years. I did not accept you for who you were, and I do not approve of you. I want to say once and for all, I am proud of you. I accept you. Not just because you're a cop. Son, if you turned out to be a serial burglar, I would be disappointed. But you're still my son, and I would still embrace you. I would still accept you. I would want good for you, but I accept you. I don't want you to even pretend to be something you're not for me. My son's bawling on the phone. You have no idea what this means, Dad. You have no idea. He wept. I wept. And I just said, I don't want you to be 40 years old wondering if Dad's going to approve of you and accept you yet. I tell you now, at 24 years of age, I accept you. So he hang up the phone. We hang up and go on. Do you think he was cured? No. But it was a lot better. So he's a cop now. I do ride-alongs with him. So a couple months back, we're doing a ride-along. Now, my son stutters sometimes when he's nervous. Job interviews, or with his father-in-law originally, or with me. And so we're in the car. He's having to call in a plate, a license plate. So he starts to pick it up and he starts to stutter. And he says, I'll call you back. And then he paused. I don't know why I'm doing that. I said, I know why you're doing it. Because your dad's in the car, and you're being cool for your dad, and you're supposed to. But you need to know, of all the people in the world who's proud of you, I am. I accept you already. He smiles. Big old cop. He's 350 pounds, 6'5", huge guy. Barely fits in that cop car. Really dangerous cop. It's really kind of fun. Nobody ever causes him trouble. Everybody obeys him. The other cops show up with stories how they had to wrestle guys, and he just says, do things, and everybody obeys him. They get in the car. They put their own handcuffs on. Here, put these on. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So he's sitting in the car. I said, son, you don't have to impress me. You know, I'm already as proud of you as I can get. I know, Dad. He picks up the radio, makes the call, doesn't stutter again. See, it didn't go away. But when I'm with him, he sees in my eyes the eyes of a man who absolutely adores him. And you know what? He's not where I want him to be in his life yet. He's not where I want him to be. But he's God's man. God's working him. He's still sanctifying him. He still names him in Christ. He'll still take a bullet for Jesus. If somebody lined up and said, will you die for Christ? He would die for Christ. Because he thinks that's normal. But he's a young guy. He has his own walk with Christ. But I accept him for who he is right now. I wouldn't have known what that meant 10 years ago. So I'm passing that on to you guys. Accept them for who they are.